Hey, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Amanda.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Kathleen.
And this is the federal election edition of Beyond a Ballot, powered by DoorDash.
Hello, it's Thursday, April 24th. I'm Hannah Thibodeau. We are 4 days out. That's right, only 4 days. The political war rooms are buzzing, and the sprint to the finish line is turning into a get out the vote frenzy. Let's start with Liberal leader Mark Carney. He was in Port Moody, but the headline he really wanted to focus on much of this campaign and kind of got another chance at it is Donald Trump again. President Trump floated raising the auto tariffs again. And also, according to Radio Canada, during last month's call with Carney, President Trump also suggested Canada become a 51st state. Amanda Alvaro, this is all yours.
Trump is like the gift that keeps on giving because we are just a few days out from this election finalizing itself. And, Carney has obviously been talking most of this election about presenting himself as the best person to take on Trump, the Trump tariffs, and lead Canada through this trade war. So as things quiet down around that, it gives him less to talk about. And the fact that Trump came out last night and said, not only am I content with the 25% tariffs on Canadian auto, but I'm prepared to do more. It gives the Liberals another reason to take this message into the final days of the campaign. So as they are in battleground ridings where they know that they could potentially shift the vote that could be the difference between a minority and a majority. The final message from the Liberal campaign is really going to be around this topic. Who is best positioned, who has the strongest leadership to position themselves against Trump, the tariffs, and lead Canada through this trade war?
Okay, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre was on the other coast. He was in Halifax promising to scrap the electric vehicle mandate. But also I have to mention this. The Globe and Mail reports the party is pouring resources into Poilievre's Ottawa area riding because he's at risk of losing it. Rachel Siegel, go.
Yeah, have you seen the ballot in that riding? So
yes,
there is a group that adds names to ballots. They sign up to run so that it kind of dilutes different candidates in those ridings. And so they said that they intended to do the same to Mark Carney, but ran out of time. So Pierre Poilievre was the only one who got it, the only leader that got this. And he now has, I think it's like 40 people on the ballot in Nepean. You have to remember, he's held that riding for a very long time. Like we're talking
since
decades.
05.
And
is it
how
05?
long? 2005. Yeah. So it's
05.
been 2 decades.
Wow.
And now he potentially is at risk. They're saying, I think a lot of resources will be going out there. We've seen the same thing happening with Jagmeet Singh, who's been at risk of losing his seat in British Columbia. He's been out here for a while, trying to secure that seat as well. So I think the message out of that is that this is a really wild race. And I think we have not seen a race like this in a long time. And so everything's on the table. But I want to correct the record because yesterday I said that Pierre was in Ontario, believing that he was in Trenton, Ontario. He actually was in Trenton, Nova Scotia. So everybody that listened to me, I apologize. The interesting thing about yesterday, him being in Nova Scotia, was that he was with Peter MacKay. Peter MacKay is the former leader of the Progressive Conservatives. This was an interesting visual showing having Peter MacKay there to endorse Pierre Poilievre really showed the unity amongst the party right now and how all Conservatives need to come together in order to form a Conservative government in Ottawa. I thought that really sent a message of progressive Conservatives within the big blue tent feeling comfortable to vote for Pierre. So an interesting day for him yesterday. And again, like you said, Hannah, talking about cars and scrapping the EVs quotas today. And just in case everyone's keeping track, he had a great rally last night. And now he's off to BC, I think.
Okay, Kathleen Monk. Jagmeet Singh was in Winnipeg, and again, he is sticking to his message, hammering home the party's past wins on dental care, pharmacare, warning voters not to let that progress slip away. He is sticking to his message this week.
Yeah, for sure. And just if people are really looking for accuracy in terms of tracking here, I can help Rachel out. So her leader, Pierre Poilievre, is actually on his way to Saskatoon for an evening rally.
I knew that. I'm
just trying to avoid you having to.
You're right. I even talked about it yesterday. It's very early here in British Columbia. And when
understand.
Yes, just, it is.
We all got to help a girl out on day 33 of the election.
Amen.
With only 4 days left. So Jagmeet Singh is off to Winnipeg today, both in an attempt to kind of shore up support there. There's two MPs, obviously, in the city center of Winnipeg, Leah Gazan and Leila Dance in Elmwood Transcona, but also Nikki Ashton up in Churchill in the northern part of the province. And then he's off to Toronto, and that's to actually go into the riding of Toronto Danforth, where there's an amazing candidate there by the name of Claire Haskell, and she's been running for 2 years and is really a dynamo on the doors. So he'll be spreading the message of how New Democrats are needed in Parliament, and how they showed, in fact, just in the last Parliament, with just 25 MPs, what they were able to deliver for Canadians, right? In terms of delivering on healthcare, dental care, pharmacare, childcare, you name it, all of the things, all of the care, and that they're promising more of it in this next election. And that if we are concerned, and I agree with Amanda, that Trump is the gift that keeps on giving in terms of, for the Liberals, with him raising the R of the 51st state just again yesterday. And if you are in fact concerned about, what a Trump imperialist agenda could mean for Canada, in terms of, potentially, coming in, looking at our resources as business opportunities, like our water or our natural resources in terms of oil, critical minerals, or even the fact that our values around public health care and the universality of that. If him, like Trump and Elon Musk, get in here and start chopping up our businesses like they have in the States, potentially privatizing our healthcare, that's a real concern, especially if there's a progressive voice in Parliament constantly pushing Liberals and Conservatives to not only listen to their, more right-wing tendencies. So that he's making that case today. I think he's been on his game in terms of energy, in terms of policy rollout, but it is looking really, really tough in the ridings.
Yeah, for sure. Campaign call out time. Amanda, you're first.
Okay, this is my favorite campaign call out in the 33 days that we've been doing this.
Whoa.
We've talked a lot about the leaders. We've talked about the staff. We've talked about the media. My shout out is to the women who said yes to doing this podcast with us every day. It's a big deal that, Rachel had the idea to do this and give these 10 to 15 minutes to mostly women who listen to us. We've had nothing but positive feedback about these 33 days so far. But when we thought about asking, two women who are at the top of their game, whose voices are just so wildly insightful, but also, really respectful. I think that what we've proven on this podcast is that you can have very, very different points of view, but you can also have really healthy debate. You can really respect one another. And I, for one, am just really proud that these women said yes and joined us. So my call out today is to Kathleen and to Hannah. We appreciate your voices so much. And I don't know what I'm going to do 4 days from now when I don't get to see you and hear you every day. But that's my shout out. Big shout out.
That's so sweet.
Thanks so much.
I thought you were going to say to all the women who put their names on the ballots, and I started to agree with you. And then, thank you.
Also
it was a real pleasure to be here, but we're not saying goodbye yet.
Yeah, we're not done.
Not
we're
yet.
not done.
We're not done. We're not done. We've got some good ones coming up too. Kathleen Monk, you're next.
Well, I just want to say thanks too. That was amazing and beautiful, Amanda. And I will pivot off your amazing tribute to us and pivot again to the candidates and do exactly what Hannah and Rachel almost assumed you were doing. You know, it is really important that women get involved in politics, not only in terms of putting their name on a ballot, but also doing things like being strategists in the back rooms, you know, working on policy, managing campaigns, you name it. Doing the fundraising, you name it, all of the jobs, there should be an equal proportion of women. And I like to say, you know, there's that famous saying, you know, Ginger did everything that Fred did, but backwards and in heels. And that's similar in terms of what women have to do all the time too. And I really have worked for years to try to engage more equity-seeking candidates into politics in every role. I've obviously never put my name on a ballot. I like working in the back rooms, but it's really important that diverse voices are there. So actually the policies that we talk about, whether it's class-based policies, economic-based policies, whether it's gender-based policies, diversity, inclusion, like all of the things, right? In terms of how our policies impact different communities. And so I'm going to give that big shout out to everyone who put their name on the ballot, particularly those groups that often need a bit more encouragement. So over to those people. And I hope everyone does well. And I hope they don't get scared off from politics, even if we get lots of trolls coming at us.
That's right.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm going to put, I did a piece on DEI and those numbers. I'm going to put that back out again today. Rachel, your campaign call out.
All right. I'll continue the theme, and my call out will be to everybody who has listened to our podcast, because we have seen people listening to this pod in all corners of this country throughout the campaign. So if you are somebody that's tuned in because you want to just inform yourself during this campaign period, if you took 10 minutes a day to really listen to us, to feel informed, I just want to thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody who took the leap with us to listen to this podcast. And again, we're not done. The big day has not happened yet.
Not done yet.
We have a few more days, but I do know that I have gotten an overwhelming number of messages from people that are like, I have never even looked at politics, and I listen to you guys every day. People have called me and said, oh, you sound so happy on the pod today. And I'm like, you listen to the pod? So everybody that listens, thank you, because you made this possible. And we'll thank you again next week.
And Amanda, didn't you get into a taxi yesterday and they were listening to it?
I did this. And if I could have just put my PR hat on for 1 second and took a photo or took some video of this moment, because I don't know what the odds are, but I got into an Uber and our podcast was playing, and man alive, the first thing I heard was Kathleen's voice, and I thought, oh, Kathleen must be CTV. No, it was our podcast. This was a young woman who, you know, fresh out of school, who came from, I think, Afghanistan, but I could be wrong. And she said that she was really interested about learning about politics and listens to us every day. I've honestly never been more proud than in that moment. So shout out to the fabulous Uber driver, wherever you may be. We're thinking of you today, and we're so grateful that you listen to us.
Absolutely. It's so cool when I heard that. Okay, we are talking about us winding down, but we are not winding down just yet. The final push is on. We are here to track it all until Election Day. So come back tomorrow. We are going to have some good stuff and some really interesting topics over the weekend. So stay with us.
Thank you for listening. New episodes come out daily, and you can find Beyond a Ballot on Instagram and wherever you find your podcasts. A huge thank you to our title sponsor, DoorDash, and sponsors Equal Voice, Page, and Canada Powered by Women for making this election special possible. Speak to you tomorrow.